Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of The Fable, a Japanese action-comedy-drama hybrid from 2019 that stars Junichi Okada. Okada plays a hitman who works for the yakuza. After performing one of his jobs, he's sent to Osaka and told to lay low for an entire year. His yakuza boss, played by Koichi Sato, tells him that if he kills even one person during this 1 year period of time, then he will be marked for death. So Okada's character complies with the request, but finds it difficult to live a normal life and interact with people in everyday environments like the workplace. Adding to the difficulty of this task are the local yakuza in Osaka, who have a conflict brewing between them, and he kind of gets roped into it. And there's also 2 lunatic killers that are actually specifically searching for him. So yeah, he's got his work cut out for him. Now, I am a big fan of Junichi Okada. I first saw him in some pretty funny comedies like Kisarazu Cat's Eye, both the show and the movies. But over the years, I've come to the opinion that he's one of the more underappreciated action stars in Asia. Security Police, the movie, has some legitimately good action beats to it, and even the Library Wars films had some good set pieces. He's kind of a short guy, he's a little guy, but he sells the action well, in my opinion. Even the way he runs, the way he throws his punches and stuff like that, he's good. And he has a surprising amount of athleticism and screen presence. Apparently, he has studied martial arts, such as Jeet Kune Do and Kali. So, it was nice to see him in another action franchise with The Fable. And guess what? It's entertaining. The story here is actually pretty good because, sometimes Yakuza movies, kind of like samurai movies, they can throw a bunch of characters at you fast, to the point where it's like the interrelationships are kind of tough to track on a first viewing. Fable has a little bit of that, but it's not overly complicated. The story's pretty streamlined, even though you do have a good variety of characters here. Maybe early on, you need to pay a little bit more attention to the details, but things become clear pretty soon after. And it's a pretty engaging story with some good conflicts as well. This is not an action-packed movie, alright? It's more of a genre bender, like I mentioned at the start of the video. And we basically get one action set piece at the start of the film, one action set piece at the end of the film. So it's good that a lot of that stuff in the middle is good enough to hold your interest. Like the comedy and the drama that's used to throughout the whole middle section of the film. So the film is successful at kind of balancing these genres. The comedy in this I thought was pretty good. Even during the opening shootout, it cuts to a woman who's like the handler of our hitman, and she's getting some guy drunk at a bar, which was quite amusing how that turns out. And then soon after, our protagonist kind of asks the woman to blow on his grilled fish because he doesn't like food that's too hot. And just the way it plays out is just kind of amusing. At one point in the film, in an attempt to appear ordinary when he's undercover, our protagonist pretends to get beat up by 2 street hoodlums. And Okada can sell comedy pretty well, and he does so here. Mostly because he plays a very serious individual who has kind of awkward interactions with people. But occasionally when he finds something funny, he just erupts in crazy laughter, which is kind of an odd thing for an assassin to do. But it's, I don't know, I think the Japanese are generally very, very good at implementing comedy, generally. So, if you like Japanese comedies, you should be good with this. Now, the humor in The Fable is not as awesome as, the Kisarazu Cat's Eye stuff, but it's good. Now, in terms of the action, as I said, this has 2 action set pieces, and both of them are good. Action design is a little bit unrealistic at times in terms of the efficiency of killing, just how accurately some of these guys can shoot, as well as some crazy maneuvers that show up later on. But the set pieces are fast-paced, and they're constructed well. The opening assassination is pretty fun, fairly kinetic. Okada's character wears a ski mask and kind of annihilates a bunch of armed guards at a traditional Japanese restaurant. Nicely shot, pretty stylish actually. They use a little bit of slow motion, some fast gun reloads, a lot of bloody headshots, use of shadows, and even some scientific calculations that are like laid over the kills, just to show how efficient our protagonist is. But the filmmakers saved the best action scene for the end. And like how I usually say, that's what you want to see. So you have that action scene at the beginning, and then you have some good like comedy drama stuff in the middle with some conflict building, and then you get this big set piece at the end. And it does last quite a while. It takes place at like this big waste disposal facility. You get like a wall scaling scene in there. You get a gun battle with some pretty good firepower and some acrobatics mixed in. Then you have a scene with hand-to-hand, one versus many combat where a guy has to protect someone while fending off a bunch of like attackers, and he's not allowed to kill any of them. So he has to somehow disable these guys without killing them, which makes his job twice as difficult, right? But that's probably the best single fight scene in the movie. I really liked it. And then he has a one-on-one duel against some crazy freaking hitman who's after him. So, the action keeps going near the end, and I think it's a very nicely satisfying set piece to end the film. So, with all that said, I think this movie succeeds in every area it really goes for here, and I do recommend The Fable. I am somewhat biased because I love the lead actor so much, but I do think that most people who watch this film are going to enjoy it. I do. So check it out and let me know what you think. It's widely available, currently streaming on Netflix. And as always, we will see you next time.